Graham Carbery achieved his 15 minutes of fame in 1980 in an incident that became known as the Carmen incident, which took place here at Moorabbin Oval. Carbery was an umpire, an AFL umpire, who ended up in some kind of exchange with Carmen, fabulous Phil Carmen, one of the league's best players, who lost his temper and headbutted Carbery. It was not something that anybody had ever done before, and not something that any football player's ever done since. It created a media sensation. The media were quite interested in who this Graham Carbery was and went looking, and soon found his association with the Australian Lesbian and Gay Archives. They were quite happy to out him, resulting in years of recurring coverage of the incident and a recurring outing of Graham Carbery. But it was his archives activities that were really his lasting contribution to the Australian gay community. In 1978, Graham Carbery had been instrumental in setting up the Australian Gay Archives, as it was then called. And for many years, for the rest of his life, in fact, Carbery remained involved with the archives as a committee member and indeed as housing the collection. At one point, he found it necessary to dig a basement under his house to house the expanding collection. Carbery had decided at the age of 12 that he was a homosexual, but he decided to just accept it. He knew he had to be discreet, but nothing more seemed to be required of him. Less well thought out was his decision at the age of 16 to join the Navy. Very quickly he realised this was a mistake and shot through, heading to Brisbane to start a new life for himself. Eventually though, he decided to come back to the Navy to accept the consequences, but by telling them that he was homosexual, they pretty soon got rid of him. That left him to get on with the real things that made his life important. He was a teacher, he was the founder of the archives. He was also involved in the collection Young, Gay and Proud, which was a book written by teachers and students for gay teenagers in the late 1970s. All of these activities contributed greatly to the growth of the Australian gay and lesbian movement and the community that surrounded it. Working with him on the archives through all this time was his long-term partner, Gary Janes. In all of these activities, he contributed to the growth and maintenance and expansion of the gay and lesbian movement and community. But it's perhaps here at the Australian Lesbian and Gay Archives, surrounding us now, that we see his most lasting legacy.